What you see right here now is the planet Uranus and Neptune. The Uranus has a lighter color, but Neptune has the more vivid and brighter blue color. We tend to lump Uranus and Neptune together in our thoughts almost as if they're twin worlds. They're nearly the same size, bigger than Earth, but smaller than Jupiter or Saturn. Both are bluish or bluish-green with deep atmospheres and icy interiors, but though superficially similar, Uranus and Neptune are really quite different. They're more different from each other than most people think, and though their differences still haven't fully explained, it now seems that mighty collisions and careening planet-sized body early in the solar system history might be the key. Uranus and Neptune are the two most distant known major planets in our solar system. Both of them are considered as ice giants. Both are fundamentally different from the larger gas giants like Jupiter and Saturn, and from smaller rocky worlds like Earth. Uranus and Neptune have similar masses and internal compositions. The outer atmospheres of these planets is composed of hydrogen, helium, and methane, while their mantles are a combination of water, ammonia, and methane ices, and their cores are a mix of rock and ice. Uranus tends to have a blander appearance than Neptune and is mostly cloudless, while Neptune's atmospheres are having darker bands than that of Uranus and with streaks of wisps of whites, which is known as clouds, as well as a large dark spot. This model right here represents the planet Uranus. This model shows the inner layer of the planet Uranus, where you can see the core, the mantle, and its atmosphere. The yellow-orange color represents the core, the green color represents the mantle, and this color represents the atmosphere, which is known as the inner atmosphere and the outer atmosphere. As one of the two ice giants in the outer part of the solar system, Uranus is made up of a hot, dense fluid materials such as water, methane, and ammonia, which is above a small rocky core. Near the core, it heats up to 9,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is also known as 4,982 degrees Celsius. As you can see, Uranus is made up of water, methane, and ammonia fluids above a small rocky center, which is known as the core. Its atmosphere is made up of hydrogen and helium like Jupiter and Saturn, and it also has methane. The methane makes Uranus's color blue. Uranus is known as 4 times larger and 15 times as massive as the planet Earth, and its internal structure is completely fluid except for the small solid core that it has a strong magnetic field. Uranus's atmospheric composition is made up of 83% hydrogen, 15% helium, and 2% of methane gas. Its atmosphere keeps the planet's temperature at 58 Kelvin, or also known as negative 215 degrees Celsius. Too cold, huh? As an ice giant, Uranus actually doesn't have any true surface. This planet is mostly swirling fluids, and a spacecraft would have nowhere to land on it. It wouldn't be able to fly through its atmosphere as well because it will be ruined or scuffed. The extreme pressures and temperatures on this planet would be able to destroy a metal spacecraft, just like I said, and the wind speeds can reach up to 560 miles per hour, and the winds are retrograde at the equator, blowing in the reverse direction of the planet's rotation. But closer to the poles, winds shift to a prograde direction, flowing with Uranus's rotation, so don't even think about adventuring here. Did you know that Uranus also has faint rings like Saturn? It's not just showy as we can see in Saturn, which is opaque. Uranus actually has 2 sets of rings, the inner system of 9 rings, which is mostly narrow, dark, and gray rings, and then there are 2 outer rings, which is known as the inner one is reddish like dusty rings, and then the outer ring is blue like Saturn's earring. In order of increasing distance from the planet, the rings are called zeta, 6, 5, 4: Alpha, Beta, Eta, Gamma, Delta, Lambda, Epsilon, Nu, and Mu. And some of the larger rings are rotated by belts of fine dust. Did you also know Uranus has 27 known moons? But in our model, I only included the one of the moons, which is known as Titania. Most of the satellites orbiting other planets take their names of Greek or Roman mythology, while Uranus's moons are unique in being named for characters for the works of William Shakespeare and Alexander Pope. All of Uranus's inner moons appear to be roughly half water ice and half rock, so the composition of the outer moons remains unknown, but they are likely captured as asteroids. Now, what we have here is the other model, which represents the planet Neptune. The planet Neptune is dark, cold, and weak by supersonic winds, where the ice giant Neptune is known as the 8th and most distant planet in our solar system. It is much more farther than the position of Uranus, and it is more than 30 times as far from the Sun as the Earth. Neptune is the only planet in our solar system which is not visible to the naked eye. Neptune is so far from the Sun that the high noon in the big blue planet would seem like dim twilight to us. The warm light we see here on our home planet is roughly 900 times as bright as sunlight on Neptune. Neptune does not really have a solid surface, just like Uranus. Its atmosphere is also made up of hydrogen, helium, and methane, which extends to great depths and gradually merging into water and other melted ices over heavier solid core, which is about the same mass as Earth. Neptune's surface is said to be composed of 80% hydrogen and 19% helium with a little amount of methane. The surface layer is also permeated by roving bands of clouds with varying compositions depending on altitude and pressure. Neptune's neighbor, which is the planet Uranus, is a blue-green color, and it is due to such atmospheric methane. But Neptune, as you can see, is more vivid and brighter blue. It is said that there must be some unknown component which causes its intense color. Neptune's environment is not conducive to life, as we all know, because the temperatures here, the pressures, and the materials characterizing this planet are most likely too extreme and volatile for organisms to adapt to. Just like Uranus, the parts of the planet Neptune is like the Uranus as well. The yellow orange here represents the core, the next layer represents the mantle, and this layer represents the atmosphere, which is divided into the inner atmosphere and the upper atmosphere. Neptune is known to have 14 known moons. So the largest moon, I only included one, which is known as Triton. The Triton was discovered on October 10, 1846 by William Lassell, just 7 days after Johann Gottfried Galle discovered the planet. So since Neptune was named for the Roman god of the sea, the moons of this planet were named for various lesser sea gods and nymphs, which is in Greek mythology. So Triton is the only large moon in the solar system that circles its planet in a direction which is opposite to the planet's rotation, which is known as retrograde orbit.